Hi there. Today I'm going to touch on delayed negotiations. We've been asked a lot recently, especially with the changing market, if delayed negotiations are still being used, and if so, what that looks like. The answer is yes. We still see delayed negotiations. However, it's not as common. So, back a few years ago, and even last year at different times, depending on how hot the market was, we would see delayed negotiations pretty consistently on most houses. And for those of you who aren't familiar, delayed negotiations means that when a house gets listed, the sellers decide to delay when they're going to accept an offer. So they list it on a Thursday and then they say, all offers to be reviewed by this date and time. And then showings can usually proceed. Sometimes they'll have delayed showings, but this, for the purpose of this video, we're not going to go into delayed showings, but we're just talking delayed negotiations. They'll say, we're going to delay negotiations until this day and time, all offers to be received by then. So it gives buyers and the sellers the opportunity to, in an organized fashion, get everyone through the house and then review the offers at one time so that everybody has the opportunity to see it and the sellers can, like I said, in an organized and intentional way, go through and really properly and fairly review all offers and then make their decisions. A lot of times the sellers will say, please give us 24 hours to make a decision. So sometimes that's 24, 48 hours depending on the situation, and then they will get back to all of the parties that put in an offer. So like I said, it is still a common practice. However, during a time even a year ago, usually it was right around in 2020, when every house had delayed negotiations because everyone was putting in offers on these houses. Right now, it's not with all houses. So there are certain situations. There are two specifically. The area that the house is in really depends and will designate whether or not delayed negotiations will occur. So if it's an area that's not getting a lot of offers, a lot of buyers in that area, it's a slower area geographically, maybe there's not as much inventory or people looking, that will decide if there is going to be delayed negotiations. If it's a hotter area where people are more commonly looking, then there will probably be delayed negotiations. So they're still pretty low. If you've heard Mike's other videos, pretty low inventory right now, historically low inventory, which we've been saying for years, but it keeps getting more and more historically low. But there's pretty low inventory. So in those hot areas, we're still going to see delayed negotiations because we're still going to have a lot of competition in those hot areas. The other deciding factor is going to be the condition of the home. So if the home needs a lot of work, usually you won't see it in delayed negotiations because it's a smaller pool of buyers who will be looking for that home and willing to take that on. If you see a house that's pretty move-in ready, maybe just a few cosmetic things, it will probably have delayed negotiations, especially if it's in a hotter area. If it has both going for it, it's pretty move-in ready in a hotter area, it will probably have delayed negotiations because at the end of the day, there are more buyers looking for those types of houses than there are in those lower inventory or other geographic areas that aren't as popular. And also with the condition, if the condition is a little bit rougher or needing to have more work done, then there are less buyers looking for those houses. So those are the two main factors that are going to play a role in that. Lastly, the time of the year will make a difference. And I know this is a third one that I didn't add on in the beginning, but it's also something to just keep in mind, generally speaking, when you're looking at homes, is the time of year. Because if it's winter, even if it's a very nice home in a very popular area, they may still pass on delayed negotiations because maybe there's just not as much activity because of the time of year. Maybe it's right before Christmas. There are other circumstances. For example, if it's an estate and they just need to sell it quickly. So time of year and extenuating circumstances can also drive whether or not delayed negotiations occurred. But the fact of the matter is that there are still delayed negotiations right now, especially being that we're in the spring market and especially in those hotter areas with turnkey homes. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you'd love to hear more about delayed negotiations and how you can be competitive when going against those other offers during delayed negotiations, again, please reach out. We'd love to help.